Berlin, perhaps the hottest flashpoint during the Cold War. But since the fall of the wall, tensions have eased. Now, East and West Germans are facing the future with a mixture of hope and fear. I'm Steve Kraft. I came to Berlin for a first-hand look at history in the making. Join me from the front lines of one of the decade's biggest stories, Berlin, after the wall. All this week on News Center 10.
And while the Iron Curtain crumbles, its most famous symbol, the Berlin Wall, stands as a useless monument tonight to the Cold War. People died trying to cross that wall, but now Germans living in the East and West can pass through it with no problems. Berlin after the wall is a very different place. Our night team reporter Steve Kraft concludes his special assignment with a tour of this Cold War relic. Why did it fall?
A couple of reasons. First, because the Soviet Union let go of its Eastern European satellite states, and because the tired, corrupt East German regime of Erich Honecker was ready to be toppled. For the wall, it was the end of an era.
The wall went up in 1961. At the time, the East German government said it had to be built to keep out the poisonous influence of the West. But to Western eyes, the wall was there only to keep East Germans from leaving. It gave this view to many a kitchen window in East Berlin. The wall sliced through neighborhoods, sliced through families, and sliced through lives. Many made dramatic escapes, jumping over it, tunneling under it. More than 70 people didn't make it. Throughout its life, the wall has been part political statement, part killing field, and part tourist attraction. Last month, November 9th, it suddenly lost its brutal power. Now, day and night, Berlin is filled with the sound of people taking it down, bit by bit.
I got some wall. I got tons of wall.
In his poem, Mending Wall, Robert Frost wrote, "Before I'd build the wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down."
After the wall is going to hold some major challenges for the two Germanys. For example, in East Germany, a bus driver can make more money than a brain surgeon. And that story holds true for many other white-collar workers. It's just one of the things that Steve Kraft found out during his visit to the Berlin Wall. Why do these inequities in the economy threaten East Germany?
Because it's created a real brain drain in the country, especially since the wall is no longer a barrier. Some of the most highly skilled people in East Germany must choose between serving their fellow citizens at very low wages or leaving the security of home to make more money in West Germany. Now, to illustrate this problem, try to imagine an American brain surgeon living like this.
An infant would fit in it, maybe, but it's Dr. Signe Luca's bathtub. What's this?
This is my tub where I wash them. Yeah.
That's where you don't you have no shower, no bath?
No.
This is where you wash?
Yes.
And this is the way to Dr. Luca's toilet. She doesn't have one in her cramped one-room East Berlin apartment, so she must share these rather Spartan facilities with a neighbor. Dr. Luca's apartment is heated, the bathroom is not. A sun lamp helps.
Winter days, I have a red lamp here. I put it on every time.
Signe has done what she could to make her apartment a decent place to live, but this is roughing it. It's like camping your whole life.
Yeah, I like camping.
In fact, Signe Luca is one unhappy camper, which is unfortunate for East Germany because she is one of its most valuable citizens. Dr. Luca is a brain surgeon with 4 years of experience and many more years of education behind her. Her specialty is removing tumors. Sometimes she'll operate for 18 hours straight. But she's only paid 1,200 East German marks per month. A bus driver or factory worker, she says, earns as much as 2,000 marks a month. How can a brain surgeon be paid so much less than a bus driver?
Yes, it's our socialist system. I don't know why.
Dr. Luca says it's clear to her that the East German government favors workers over professionals, and it's getting on her nerves. She's tired of her perpetually leaking ceiling, which the government won't fix, and the difficulty she has in stocking her refrigerator with food. Much of what little she's able to buy she gets during newly permitted shopping trips into West Berlin. Dr. Luca has received several job offers from West German hospitals. There are times she's tempted to leave.
I think about it, to go to the West. So many times. I think and thought and thought and...
But so far, Dr. Luca hasn't left her job at the sprawling state hospital in Röntgendahl, some 20 miles north of East Berlin. She hasn't quit, even though her job, just like her living situation, comes with its share of frustrations.
The hospital has some high-tech equipment, for example, a CAT scan machine. But in some ways, conditions here are relatively primitive. There is no laser surgery. And a doctor here told me that the machinery in the intensive care unit is 15 years behind the times.
Many other doctors have left, but so far Dr. Luca has hung on for one reason. She doesn't want to leave her patients.
Although patients, they need my help. And when all doctors go to the West, what could they do? The patients.
Still, she says, the urge to leave is getting stronger. There's a picture of a road in Dr. Luca's apartment. It's one she might someday be on, heading west.
All these talented people leaving is a tremendous problem right now in East Germany. Many hospitals are already critically understaffed.
I'm sure she knows something about the way American doctors are paid. What does she think about that?
She thinks that they are wildly overpaid, just unbelievably overpaid. But she and many other East Germans also realize that they're going to have to do something to keep their doctors in the country.
The Friedrichstrasse train station in East Berlin. It's the only station that connects East Germany with West Berlin. Standing on one of the platforms, waiting for a train, was a man in his early 20s named Mike Horn. He was looking forward to his first night in the West. He was not looking back.
Weiß ich noch nicht. Aufwachslager in West-Berlin für DDR-Bürger. Möchte man eine schnelle Ausreise haben.
I stayed in prison in the GDR for 6 years. I'm leaving for West Berlin now. I'll spend the night in a refugee camp somewhere. I don't know yet where it is. And I'm leaving Berlin for political reasons.
He showed us an ugly scar on his leg, a permanent reminder, he said, of the time he was shot while trying to escape prison. Mike Horn is one of more than 340,000 East Germans who've left the country this year. This in a nation of only about 16 million people. Many end up in huge resettlement camps like this one in West Berlin, housed dormitory style until they can be placed in West German society. Their dream is to eventually share in the prosperity of the West, but not everybody stays.
It came as a bit of a surprise for me to learn that the flow of refugees actually moves in two directions. Now, a flood of refugees, of course, has gone to the west, but a trickle turns around and heads back home. And this is one of the places they go.
It's the East German Central Home for Returning Citizens, located near the town of Zepernick in the tranquil northern suburbs of East Berlin. The deputy director of the facility told me that 20 to 30 people come to the home every day. They stay about a week. Usually by then they're assigned apartments somewhere in East Germany and move out. The home has 150 beds, but there were only 30 people there the day I visited. The hallways were deserted. Kitchen workers sliced vegetables for a far more intimate lunch than a refugee would enjoy in West Berlin. New arrivals quietly passed the time in their rooms. Jörg Dieksen left for West Germany with his parents a year ago. They stayed. He's back. He says he just didn't fit in the freewheeling West.
Die ganze Atmosphäre.
The atmosphere and the life as a whole, he didn't like.
Some of the residents are actually West Germans who want to leave capitalism behind for a new life in a socialist state.
In the German Democratic Republic.
In East Germany?
Yes, in East Germany. Are not homeless, not homeless.
No homeless people?
Yes, and no people without work.
So no homeless people or no unemployed people, that's why you came here?
Christian Schessler came with his wife and daughter. He used to own a restaurant in West Berlin, but he fell on hard times.
We decided to go far to east and to begin a new life. We made some visits in the GDR, and we have some friends in the GDR, and we know the situation in the GDR very exactly.
Meanwhile, back on the train platform at Friedrichstrasse Station, Mike Horn also knows his situation very exactly.
I'm so happy that I can leave this country now, and I will never come back.
He probably won't, but if he ever does, the East German government will have a bed waiting for him.
The real work of changing East Germany has started, and many Germans wonder if reunification might be the answer. Our night team reporter Steve Kraft found that issue has sharply divided Germans, and he joins us now to continue his special assignment report after the wall.
Well, people who favor reunification and people who do not can be found on both sides of the Berlin Wall. The two countries have gone down very separate paths since the end of the Second World War. Today, East Germany's economy is weak and West Germany's is strong. While the East Germans are proud of their socialism and want to keep at least some of it, they also want more of what the West has.
There's an election going on every day in East Berlin. People are choosing how they want to live. They're voting with their feet. Every day, by the thousands, they file through the security checkpoints out of Friedrichstrasse Station and catch a train bound for West Berlin. They go to shop and to be dazzled by the variety of things to buy in the capitalist West. With the help of relatives and with what little money they've been able to save, they come back toting bags, boxes, everything but the kitchen sink. On second thought, some even bring the sink back. The fall of the wall has brought the two Germanys together to shop. But just because East Germans want what they can buy in the West doesn't mean that they want to become West Germans. A number are decidedly cool to the idea of reunification. They're pondering their future, wondering if capitalism is the best course.
There are many people, not some people, but many people, who think that we need a new sort of economy, new democracy, new political system inside the frame of socialism. You see?
The fear is that with reunification, East Germans will become nothing but a cheap source of labor for West German industry, a permanent underclass. We'll be taken advantage of. We'll be on the bottom, worries Dieter Gall, an East German worker. But many West Germans feel that they can calm these fears. Their government is already investing heavily in East Germany's crumbling economy. And West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl has already unveiled a 10-point plan leading to reunification. Some West Berliners say that if their neighbors in East Berlin want to enjoy the fruits of capitalism, they'll have to learn to accept its risks.
With the free enterprise, naturally you run the risk of being unemployed. The good comes with the bad. That's the same way over there. I mean, they have no competition. They are never unemployed. But then look at the life they're living there, and look at the cars they are driving, and look at their standard, and look at their luxury and what they haven't got.
But to some East Germans, it's more than a question of money.
Die Drogenszene drüben gefällt mir gar nicht.
There are a lot of things I don't like about West Germany. Drugs at one point. I don't like how many of the young people are, and I've got the impression that many people over there are very egoistic.
Some want to put a stop to Western influence, but it may be unstoppable. After all, one of the hottest movies on the streets of East Berlin is Dirty Dancing.
East Germans outside of East Berlin are said to be more receptive to reunification as a way to raise their standard of living. probably will see a confederation before the two Germanys reunify.
I don't know how realistic this is, but some people speculate that a reunified Germany might create a Fourth Reich.
There has been some speculation, but actually, West Germany's very strong democratic record over the last 40 years suggests that a repeat of the Nazi era is extremely unlikely. East and West Germans are truly counting their blessings this Christmas season, but the way the two sides celebrate the holiday speaks volumes about how close they are, and yet how far apart.
It's German tradition to have a Weihnachtsmarkt, or street fair, every Christmas. In West Berlin, which is capitalist and politically free, the festival is a sumptuous celebration. There's dancing in the classic style. Of course, serious dancers and their audiences can work up a real appetite. So there's lots to eat, and lots of beer on tap to wash it down. The Weihnachtsmarkt doubles as an arts and crafts fair. Christmas shoppers can choose from a great variety of traditional items, ranging from nutcrackers to candles to dolls. But this year, for all Berliners, the most wonderful present has already been received. The fall of the wall is the best gift of all.
Oh, it's beautiful. Since 61, the wall was a big wall. And now it's open and it's good for everyone.
To come together without problems, I think that is the best present you can have at Christmas.
This holiday season, West Berliners are celebrating the peaceful revolution in East Germany, as well as the birth of Jesus Christ. Because it's a religious holiday, religious figures and figurines are in attendance. But this isn't the only show in town. Hello. There's a Christmas festival on the other side of the wall, too.
But here in communist East Berlin, Christmas takes on a carnival atmosphere. This is a secular celebration. The emphasis is not on religion, but on having a good time.
The Marxist party line holds that religion is the opiate of the people. So East Germans, at least publicly, take the Christ out of Christmas. But Santa Claus is still available. Only in German he's known as Weihnachtsmann. Kids can have their photos taken mit Weihnachtsmann, and he's every bit as popular a figure in East Berlin as he is in our country. But aside from Santa, the East German Weihnachtsmarkt feels more like an American state fair than anything else. There are huge throngs of people. For kids, it's a paradise. Hello! There are rides for the children, even real live rides. And there are games of skill and chance on the midway. One of them is the ring toss. But some of the prizes up for grabs in this game say a lot about life in this economically depressed society. For example, competition is keen for a can of Cuban grapefruit juice, or a jar of cherries, or pickles. And for anyone interested in doing a little Christmas shopping at this festival, there's virtually nothing to buy.
If you listen to Cool AM and FM radio, you probably heard B.J. Hunter and Don Crawford doing their shows live a week ago from the Berlin Wall.
These two oldie stations decided to rock the block shortly after the breathtaking news last month that the wall was going to fall.
And our Steve Kraft went along. What an incredible place to be.
It definitely was. And, you know, there could have been an international incident a couple of months ago had they tried this particular stunt. But, fortunately, history turned a page in Berlin, and through the miracle of satellite technology, the two DJs were able to pull off quite a coup.
It's about 7:42 in Phoenix this morning at 94.5, your Cool FM.
7:42 in the morning in Phoenix is 18 minutes before 4 in the afternoon in Berlin. So, B.J. Hunter of Cool FM and Don Crawford of Cool Gold AM, who get up at the crack of dawn to do their radio shows when they're home in Phoenix, had to get used to doing AM radio in the PM. No problem.
We'll get back to you with more from the Berlin Wall via satellite live. Checkpoint Charlie, this is Don Crawford on Cool Gold.
I don't think right now anybody else in America has a better job than I do. That's what I can tell you. Ooh. Hello?
Are we ready? Throughout, the two radio personalities ladled out a generous serving of oldies from what they call the greatest oldies stations in America. And they made sense of their surroundings for the folks back home in the valley. What do you do when you're doing a live 3-hour morning drive time radio show from Checkpoint Charlie in Berlin, until very recently one of the world's tensest places? You relax, lighten up.
Today, since I think 1 o'clock p.m.
So, and then people come up to you.
You chat with the locals who are hacking away at the Berlin Wall and selling whatever they can chip off. You interview Berliners east and west about the astounding fall of the wall. You hand out hundreds, or was it thousands, of complimentary oldies albums to puzzled but pleased passersby.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. You have a nice day. Happy New Year.
Both hosts encountered magic moments on their shows.
Good morning, Phoenix, and say good morning, America. 1, 2, 3. Good morning!
Oh, Tannenbaum, oh, Tannenbaum, wie grüße deine Blätter. Du grüßt dich nur zur Sommerzeit, auch im Winter, wenn es schneit. Oh, Tannenbaum, wie grüßen deine Blätter.
Yeah! All right,
And after just another day at the office, make that the foreign office, it was time to say goodbye.
As always, we do wish you good luck, good life, good love. God loves you, and so do I. And Froelich Weihnachten. Did I say that right? Yeah. Bye.
I'd like to thank photographer and editor Neil Miller for his great work on this special assignment, and also translators Stefan Schott and Miriam Pete.
Great. It's been a great series, and you and Neil deserve a lot of credit. Thank you, Steve.